roll up windows. What you know about that?
Hello, people of the internet. Today I have a car review for you that is very near and dear to my heart. This is my grandmother's 1994 Ford Ranger 4x4, the very truck she taught me how to drive on, and the one I did a full frame-off restoration of here on this YouTube channel. There's a link up above to the playlist if you would like to check that out. But today, I'm gonna review it. We're gonna get it up in the air, nerd out in the tech specs, see how it's constructed, and then take it out and give it a bean assessment. Although I added the tow hitch when I did the frame-off resto, it was on my parts truck, the original tow capacity of this 94 Ford Ranger 4x4 with a 4-liter V6 is 5,900 pounds. The second generation Rangers had the Ford 8.8 rear axle. I did do some upgrades to this one, however, during the restoration. I upgraded to a TrueTrack Torsen LSD with a set of Yukon 373 rear end gears, which is mildly overkill for a stock 4-liter. The original rear anti-sway bar was not savable due to corrosion, and they're originally actually located in front up above the rear axle, kind of a better placement for off-roading. But I upgraded to a Hellwig unit, which measures in at 22 millimeter. I upgraded the shocks to a set of Bilstein 5100s, and these little 2-inch lift blocks under the rear leaves are actually original to this truck. This was equipped with what's known as the High Rider package, which was also the Ford Ranger STX model's suspension. It's an additional 1.5 inch lift over the standard 4x4 model trucks. Stainless exhaust, no tip, just like it would have been from the factory. When I did the restoration, every last nut and bolt was removed from the chassis and re-zinc coated, as well as all of the bolt-on components were powder coated in black and the frame was done in black frame paint. In addition to upgrading the rear diff, I also rebuilt and refurbished everything else in the driveline. The second generation of the Ford Ranger debuted in 1993, and these 93 and 94 models actually share a lot in common with the first generation that spanned from 1983 till 1992. Now, this single cab, long box, 4-wheel drive, 4-liter V6 with a 5-speed manual weighs in at 3,408 pounds, which is super light compared to modern mid-sized trucks today. Exhaust-wise, it is a Gibson stainless steel catback with a set of stainless steel MagnaFlow replacement catalytic converters. I wanted to keep this thing emissions legal. And just for a little bit of extra spice, I went for a set of ceramic coated stainless steel headers. This little pile of colorful robot spaghetti is part of the electronically controllable Borg-Warner 2-speed transfer case. Paired to it is a fruit of the 90s Ford and Mazda partnership, because in 94, Ford started developing and building the B-Series pickup truck for Mazda. Now, this is the 5MOD 5-speed manual transmission with overdrive, and it's rather impressive for what this truck actually needed. It's rated at a maximum torque input of 450 Newton meters or 331 pound-feet. And yes, that is this truck's original transmission that came from New Hampshire and was covered in white corrosive barnacles. It took a long time and a lot of acid and scrubbing for me to get that case looking brand new again. Little skid plate guy right here to keep things skidless. Front suspension wise, along with that High Rider package, this thing is spec'd with the optional Dana 35 front axle with a twin traction beam style suspension. While this does have 373 gears up front, I did not upgrade the diff to a TrueTrack Torsen unit. Just didn't feel it would need it. The optional High Rider package gives a taller coil spring compared to the normal 4x4s, which made finding a shock really hard for this truck because it's a rare package. It took a couple hours of scouring through Bilstein catalogs, but I found a set of 2-wheel drive Nissan Xterra 5100s were the exact spec needed for this High Rider equipped Ranger. Front anti-sway bar measures in at 23 millimeter. All right, it's time for the braking test. No one behind me. I have very primitive ABS, so this is gonna be scary. All right, ready? Go. Woo geez, woo geez, woo geez. Oh man.
these trucks only have rear ABS. So it's a little wild.
That braking was just accomplished thanks to an adorable little set of single piston calipers with a 10.8 inch or 276 millimeter front rotor. That's a meaty little single pot. The wheels, they are a set of 15 by 7 positive 10 offset Workmeister S1 two-piece wheels that I had to flex a little bit and do something special for this truck. So that's what I did. I do have the original deer hoof wheels that came on this, and I'm planning on restoring those. I also decided to upgrade to a set of worn manual lock-in hubs for the four-wheel drive system. They're wrapped in a set of 30 by 9.5 Firestone Destination XT tires with the white lettering out. I had to. It's a 90s Ford Ranger. You gotta have a set of white lettering Firestones on it. This little guy right here, which I get asked a lot, is an engine torque damper. It's bolted to the side of the engine and reduces lateral flex when you rev the engine. Look at that. So clean you could eat off of it. Don't eat off of it. Out back, this has the optional 10-inch drum brakes. You could have either 9 or 10 inches depending on how you like it. And the wheel and tire combo is square stanced to up front, same size.
In the name of my gram, I'm going to give this thing the beans. Bolstering assessment. I don't want to. It's a bench seat. There is no bolstering. It's a bench seat. Okay? And on extremely long road trips, it will induce bruises on the back of your thighs. Ask me how I know. So a fun backstory on the term give it the beans. The very first time I ever heard that was from my gram in this very truck. There was this massive hill by where she used to live on Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. And in the center of the hill is a big dip. And every time we'd be driving to her house in this truck, she would just yell, give it the beans, and floor it going down the hill to get that sinking feeling in your gut when you hit the bottom of it. As far as drive modes go, there are none. It's 1994. You are the drive mode. As far as the traction control goes, you defeat that with defeat. Never mind. All right, let's see what this thing can do. Ready? Get it, Little Ranger! Get it, Little Ranger, get it! The original bean. Well, that was faster than I thought it was gonna be. That's good. This would have been quick for back in the day.
Good pop. Fun fact, these little vent visors, I installed those in my Gram's truck when I was 12. Clean the way it should be. While the exterior paint finish on this truck is the original, the one thing that I did repaint when I restored the truck was the engine bay, and I went with a satin clear coat because originally these are not clear coated from the factory. However, I wanted it to be a little bit more durable, and I just thought it would look absolute fire with that satin finish on it. The truck had some corrosion down in like the corners and stuff by the battery box and at the bottom of the firewall, so I just wanted it to look fresh and nice in here when I redid everything. Under the hood of this 94 Ford Ranger is the Cologne 4-liter naturally aspirated iron block, iron head, 245 cubic inch V6 that produces 160 horsepower at 4,000 RPM and 225 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM. This is a torquey little boat anchor of an engine. Also, when my gram bought this new, she didn't spec it out with air conditioning because New Hampshire, but I added that since I'm in Arizona now. All of the parts utilized during the restoration were genuine Ford Motorcraft parts. The alternator and starter are actually the original ones from this truck that I had rebuilt. And the only other things that are really upgraded is I went with the Excel coil pack, as well as a more modern standalone ECU that actually fits within the factory Ford 60-pin PCM housing. I did that not to make more power, just so I'd have better visibility on the safety and overall health of what's going on in this engine, because OBD1 systems just really don't give you that kind of visibility is what you get with a more modern system you can plug into a laptop. The Cologne V6 got its name not for smelling nice, but because it was manufactured in Cologne, Germany for here in America. And it is an iron block, iron head 60-degree V6 with 100 by 84 millimeter bore and stroke and 9:1 compression ratio, and is equipped with what was known as EDIS, electronic distributorless ignition system. It's time, once again, to give this thing the beans.
Roll up windows, what you know about that? This right here, this is where this truck belongs. The type of roads this thing spent its entire life on are what we call notches back home. Just mountain passes, back roads in New Hampshire that weave through the mountain ranges. I don't know why they're called notch. I guess because they notched their way through the landscape. I'm not a geologist. These windy type of back roads. 2-lane, not really any traffic. Kind of bad infrastructure, but it's pickup truck, so it's okay. Pretty much just use 3rd or 4th gear all the way through the entire thing, letting the torque of the engine just kind of pull you along. These things are a torque beast. They only make 160 horsepower, but that 225 pound-feet of torque does quite a bit in a truck that doesn't weigh that much. Excellent spacing for heel-toe driving. Ask me how I know, because I learned how to drive on this thing. There's a lot of movement in the steering wheel. Everything is tight and new because they've replaced everything, but it's an early 90s Ford Ranger. It's not a Porsche. Everything feels super solid in here. All the rattling you hear is all my camera gear stuffed into a single cab. A little bit of a downside of a single cab, but I like single cabs. I prefer one over an extended cab. Power mirrors, but manual roll-up windows and door locks, but with factory cruise control and push-button 4-wheel drive. Manual sliding rear window. That's what's up. It's got 2 cup holders and these little things that will slide up and lock your drink in place so it doesn't fall over.
They're not original. These floor mats that say Ranger on them, I talked my grandma into buying these at a random auto parts store in the late 90s, and they're still in here.
The center armrest opens up so you can stow your favorite cassettes in here.
As far as the infotainment system goes, in 1994, it had a tape deck, and it still works.
This is how you can tell a vehicle is well cared for, just by how clean the headliner is.
This is what tailgates were like in 1994. They had a handle, it was made out of metal. You opened it, and you have to actually lower the tailgate, because if not, you'll just dent it or it'll fall off in the ground.
You don't really see too many single cab long beds anymore.
Hear that? That's the sound of America. Actually, kind of. It's part Mazda. There's not really much of an interior to show you, but what I do have, normally when you buy a new vehicle, they'll give you a calendar at the dealership with your photo taken. And it just so happens I have the original calendar that my gram got when she bought it new. That's my gram sitting in front of the Ford dealership with her new Ranger.
This color, Calypso Green Metallic, is a dealer special order option to get that color on an XLT model. If you knew how much money and time I just spent restoring this truck and making it immaculate, you would probably make the same decision too. Yeah, fuck this. I love driving little trucks like this. They're an absolute blast. They're the perfect size. You can maneuver in tight spaces with it. And off-roading too, that's a huge advantage. Having something that's small, you can get down tight trails with it. Ooh, and some switchbacks. That's exciting. This road's, well, I guess I am doing a little bit of an off-road review. This road's a little rough. This is like perfect though. This is the turf where this truck is most at home. I'm sure I could pound it off-road and see what it's capable of, but I don't care. And I'm not trying to impress anybody with it either. It wouldn't be a car review if I didn't at least mention fuel economy, because I know someone is going to ask. And when I drove the thing cross country, when it wasn't exactly as fresh and running new as it is now, I was averaging in the high teens, just tipping into the low 20s at times. And now I would say it's maybe a mile per gallon to better, if that. Whoa. I've never been here before. There it is. I wasn't sure if I was gonna have enough time to film everything all in one day, but I made it. I thought it'd only be right to take this thing to a lake since it spent its entire life on Lake Winnipesaukee. I think my grandma would have liked it this way.
I have to somehow give this thing fair and accurate scores. You know how difficult that's gonna be? That's like asking someone if they think your fucking child's cute or not. I'm gonna be I'm gonna try my best here, be professional. So first up is the bean score in the original Beanmobile. It's assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give it the beans. And my Graham's 94 Ford Ranger 4x4 is getting a rating of. Next is the cookie score. It's an assessment of value. And I'm gonna go off of what this truck was valued as brand new back in 1994, because no one in their right mind is gonna spend as much money and time as I did restoring a 94 Ford Ranger. You don't wanna know how much money I have into this thing. So this truck, when it was new, would be getting a rating of. Next is the mechanic score. It's an assessment on how much of an ass pain something would be to work on and maintain. And how do I even assess this? I literally rebuilt the truck from the ground up. Here. Do they have squids in lakes? I think squids are only saltwater. Either way, next is the squid score. It's an assessment of handling. And my Graham's Ranger is getting a rating of freshwater squids. Lastly is the penguin score. It's in a, what the fuck? I can't give this thing a, what do you think it's gonna be? Obviously, I tried, all right? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll see you soon with another. Bye.